Where's everyone going? Bingo?
I love the Resident Evil franchise. Some of my earliest memories were seeing Leon on the box art of Resident Evil 4. God damn! But, despite being a fan of the franchise, I have never seen any of the Resident Evil movies. From what I've heard from the community, the movies are a little rough, don't you think? I've heard that the movies either very loosely adapt the game, using ideas like Umbrella Corps and Jill, but not really using them the same way that the games use them, or they try to do a super faithful adaptation of one of the game's storylines, only to completely misunderstand the characters, write them poorly, and just try and cram way too much stuff into the movies. As of the recording of this video, the first trailer for Zach Creeger's Resident Evil movie has released. And my first impression of it was that it was maybe going down the line of Resident Evil in name only. But since then, I've watched the trailer a couple more times and watched his interview that he did with IGN, and I'm starting to feel more optimistic about it. So, let's talk about it. So the first thing that I immediately noticed that led me to believe it was Resident Evil in name only was that none of our main characters are present in the film. No Leon, no Chris, no Claire, no one. Instead, the plot is about this new character who is in Raccoon City somewhere at the same time as Leon Kennedy during the events of my second favorite Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 2. Now don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Leon, I'd love to see Claire, and I'd love to see a perfect, faithful adaptation of the game that I love so much. But if I want to experience that story again, I'll just play the game. Because let's be honest, the movie might be able to retell the story of that classic, but it's never going to quite be able to capture the atmosphere and vibe of that original game. I think this is the best possible route to take this, as long as it feels like it actually takes place in the games and not in whatever the hell the original films were going for. And from what I've seen, it seems like Zach wants to do this. He mentioned in an interview before the release of the trailer that he understands that if he gets the lore wrong, the fan base will come after him. He's also said multiple times that he himself is a fan of the games, playing them multiple times. I think he said he played Resident Evil 4 like a dozen times or something like that. And this is very important, especially when we look at other video game adaptations, like the dumpster fire that was the Halo TV series. Before the Halo series released, many of the people behind it went on interviews and said that they've never played a Halo game in their life and they don't plan to ever play it because this isn't Halo the game, this is Halo the TV series. This is not something you want to hear from someone who's handling an adaptation of a franchise that you love and respect. You want to hear that the person making it has the same love, respect, and reverence for the source material that you, the fan, has. But I mean, anyone can say they're a fan of a franchise. I could say I'm a huge fan of Farm Simulator 2018. Doesn't mean I've ever played it. But I feel like Zach has said some things in interviews and shown some things in the trailer that back up his claims. First of all, he says it's very important to him that they simulate the health management and inventory management that made the original game so popular. This is great. This is something that not just anyone who looks at Resident Evil would understand. This is someone who's played the games and understands what makes them scary, challenging, what makes the vibe the vibe. And I mean, he's even thrown in fun little Easter eggs, wanting to kind of poke fun at the fact that in Resident Evil you're constantly finding green herbs and healing items just scattered around. In this shot here, I thought this was a green herb, and he confirmed it was. On top of that, this scene here of our main character rummaging through drawers, he said he wanted to simulate the feeling from the games of rummaging through drawers looking for ammo and supplies. He also said that he wants to emulate the feeling of upgrading your guns, like how in the games you start with a pistol and eventually you find a shotgun and then other weapons. We see the same thing in the trailer where our main character starts out with a pistol, finds a shotgun but no ammo, and then by the end of the trailer has some sort of automatic rifle. But there's one thing I noticed from the trailer that does give me a little bit of concern, and that's the zombie problem. I noticed a lack of zombies in the trailer. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're there. There's zombies jumping off the skyscrapers, which looks awesome. But there isn't as much as you'd expect. I mean, the whole Raccoon City incident was a zombie outbreak. Instead, we see things like this fat zombie and this doorway of arms and legs. But I don't know if this is necessarily a problem. I mean, first and foremost, the lack of constant zombies adds this eerie vibe to the trailer that at any moment something can happen. And you feel that in the original 3 Resident Evil games. I mean, the whole joy of that opening sequence in Resident Evil 2 of Leon going through the gas station is that you know something is wrong. You know something scary is going to happen, but you don't know what it is until you turn around the corner and see that iconic shot of the zombie eating the guy alive. But also, if you think about it, the zombies in Resident Evil were nothing more than just a basic grunt enemy. Something to waste your ammo on so that when the real enemies came, you didn't have enough ammo to fight them. And don't get me wrong, it was very enjoyable to dodge these zombies and fight them in gameplay. But watching that happen for an hour plus, it might not be as enjoyable. But now, think about it. What are the most memorable enemies from the Resident Evil games that you actually used your ammo to fight? For Resident Evil 2, what comes to mind is Mr. X. Resident Evil 3, the most iconic enemy in that game is the Tyrant. I mean, hell, the Tyrant was literally the poster boy for Resident Evil 3. And even Resident Evil 4. Hey, bring that cover back up. Zoom in. Boom. Right there. Senor Biggie Cheese himself.
Perfect. The big cheese.
What?
See, that's the thing. Resident Evil is not just about zombies. In Japan, the game is called Biohazard. It's about viruses. The T virus is the main virus in Resident Evil 2, and it's the virus that turns people into zombies. But it does more than just turn them into zombies. I mean, this thing, that's from the T virus. And even Mr. X himself and the Tyrant are both from the T virus. And I think Zach realizes this as well. In the IGN interview, he says that the main reason for adding the fat zombie and the doorway of arms and legs is that he wants to really dive deep into what can the T virus do beyond just turning you into a zombie. What horrible monsters can be created. And I mean, some of the most interesting lore from the Resident Evil franchise is that. Look at Resident Evil 1. The diary entries you find from the people who are infected is some of the most interesting lore you can find in the game. So, with all this in mind, I feel like this movie could be decent. I'm still going to be cautious about it because it could come out and just be trash. But after seeing Zach Creeger geek out about the games and talk about the movie, and after watching the trailer a couple more times, it does have the vibe of the original 3 Resident Evil games. And sure, maybe Leon's not in the trailer, but who knows? We might see him in the final movie. And is it so much of a bad thing to have a Resident Evil story focus on a different character in the same universe? I mean, look at Resident Evil 7. This game was a huge departure from the franchise, having none of the main cast, no mention of Umbrella Corps, no mention of the T-Virus, and yet it's one of the best games in the franchise, basically reviving the series. So I'm still hesitant about it. Let's say cautiously optimistic, but I'm very excited to see more from this movie, and I really hope it doesn't disappoint. And if it does, or if it doesn't, you guys will know about it. I am sure that I will make a video when this movie comes out. And if you guys are interested in seeing that and listening to me talk about more things and ramble on about everything, why don't you like this video and subscribe? Stick around. There is a lot more videos to come. Videos with a higher production value. This is just something I wanted to throw together and talk about the trailer while it's still relevant. But I do have a couple other videos in the work that I'm working away on a script for, and it's going to be super highly edited funness. But yeah, so once again, if you guys liked what you saw here, thank you so much for watching, and please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you want to. We're gonna have a lot of fun here, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.